Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama
Hare Krishna. Welcome all to the Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Today's class will be given by His Grace Prasannatma Balaram Prabhu, and this is from Canto 6, Chapter 3, text number 20 and 21. Before we start the class, we will quickly read a quote from Srila Prabhupada. I will share my screen, and if anybody is interested, you can read the quote.
I'll read, Prabhu.
Yes, Mataji. If you are able to see the screen, please
Yes,
read.
I can. This chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra is enacted from the spiritual platform, and thus this sound vibration surpasses all lower strata of consciousness, namely sensual, mental, and intellectual. Krishna consciousness, the topmost yoga system. Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Jai Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji. Prasannatma Balaram Prabhuji, over to you.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Dandavat pranams. So dandavat pranams to all the devotees. Hare Krishna. So I hope my voice is clear. Is it audible? You are able to hear?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Thank you. So, so I'm welcoming you all for today's session of Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. So like Prabhu said, we will look at two verses together, which is 6, 3, and then 20 and 21. So these are the two verses that we will be looking at for today. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jaya Mudirayet Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yet Kripatamaham Vande Shri Guru Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, do you want me to share the screen?
Yeah, if you can do it, or
Okay.
you want me to share, I can do that.
Anything is okay.
If you are ready,
Whatever you
then
come.
it's okay.
Yeah. I'll do. I'll share. You can read from.
Okay, thank you. Okay, the verse is Swayambhur Narada Shambhu Kumara Kapilo Manuhu Prahalado Janako Bhishmo Bhaler Vaya Sakhir Vayam Dhvadasaite Vijanimo Dharmam Bhagavatam Bataha Guhyam Vishuddham Durbodham Yam Nyatvam Ashnute. So we'll just look at the translation and then the purport. The translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada ki Jai. The translation goes like this: Lord Brahma, Bhagavan Narada, Lord Shiva, the four Kumaras, Lord Kapila, son of Devahuti, Swayambhuva Manu, Prahalada Maharaj, Janaka Maharaj, grandfather Bhishma, Bali Maharaj, Sukadev Goswami, and I myself know the real religious principles. My dear servants, this transcendental religious principle, which is known as Bhagavata Dharma or surrender unto the Supreme Lord and love for Him, is uncontaminated by the material modes of nature. It is very confidential and difficult for ordinary human beings to understand. But if by chance one fortunately understands it, he is immediately liberated and thus he returns home back to Godhead. And in the purport, Prabhupada says, In Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna refers to Bhagavata Dharma as the most confidential religious principles. Sarva guhyatamam guhyad guhyattaram. Krishna says to Arjuna, because you are my very dear friend, I am explaining to you the most confidential religion. Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja. Give up all other duties and surrender unto me. One may ask, if this principle is very rarely understood, what is the use of it? In answer, Yamaraja states herein that this religious principle is understandable if one follows the parampara system of Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, the four Kumaras, and the other standard authorities. There are 4 lines of disciplic succession, one from Lord Brahma, one from Lord Shiva, one from Lakshmi, the goddess of fortune, and one from the Kumaras. The disciplic succession from Lord Brahma is called Brahma Sampradaya. The succession from Lord Shiva, Shambhu, is called the Rudra Sampradaya, and one from the goddess of fortune, Lakshmi ji, is called Shri Sampradaya, and one from the Kumaras is called the Kumara Sampradaya. One must take shelter of one of these 4 Sampradayas in order to understand the most confidential religious system. In the Padma Purana, it is said, Sampradaya Vihina Ye Mantraste Nishphala Mataha. If one does not follow the 4 recognized disciplic succession, his mantra or initiation is useless. In the present day, there are many asampradayas or sampradayas which are not bona fide, which have no link to authorities like Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, the Kumaras, or Lakshmi. People are misguided by such sampradayas. The Shastras say that being initiated in such a sampradaya is a useless waste of time, for it will never enable one to understand the real religious principles. Om Tat Sat. Hare Krishna. So this is the verse that we will look for today. So one wonderful verse. I just hope I'll be able to do some justice to it. So I give my prayers, and I also request each one of you to shower your mercy so that I'll be able to do some justice to these wonderful shlokas. So, Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nitinamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा. So here, as we all know, there is this conversation between the Yamadutas and the boss, that is Yama. So Yamaraja is actually explaining the bewilderment or the cause or the reason for the bewilderment of the of the Yamadutas, where he is talking about Bhagavata Dharma. So now, if we look at these verses or the discussions that are happening, Yamaraj is talking about how there are these 12 Mahajans, which all of you are aware of, Swayambhu Narada Shambhu. So that's the verse. In fact, we've heard this from Srila Prabhupada and then our various acharyas or senior Vaishnavas in our ISKCON. They quote this particular verse, which starts with Swayambhu Narada Shambhu. Kumara, Kapila, Manu, Prahalada, Bhishma, Janaka. So all the 12 of them, and who are called as the Mahajans, and one needs to align themselves to one of the Mahajans so that the Bhagavata Dharma could be understood. So now there are two questions that come to us. So here Yamaraja is saying that the 12 Mahajans know what is Bhagavata Dharma. So now there are two questions for us. Who is a Mahajan and what is Bhagavata Dharma? So this particular Bhagavata Dharma is very confidential as per Yama. And it is difficult for ordinary humans to understand. This is what he is saying. And it also says in the translation that if by chance they get it, that is this, if they are able to understand it, then the result is amazing. They are immediately liberated. They return back home, back to Godhead. So what is immediate liberation and what is returning back home, back to Godhead? Who are the Mahajans and what is Bhagavata Dharma? So we'll try to have some discussion around this and then look at what our acharyas have said. So in many ways, this subject matter is, it can be approached in many ways. So now we'll begin with the Vedas. Now, Vedas means we know it is knowledge. Okay, so there is knowledge in the Vedas. Now we need the knowledge for liberation. So liberation is becoming unbound from the clutches of material desires or Maya. So that is why even in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is talking about how one needs to cut the bond of material attachment with the shining sword of the knowledge that's in the jnana. So there is a lot of importance given to jnana, the right knowledge, because that is liberating. Now, some people might think that this is sufficient. I will read and understand and become liberated. So yeah, there are these books are there now today, the modern day. You've got so much access. You just Google and then you'll find so many things. And I'll just read all of them at my home in the comfort of my wherever I'm sitting. And then, I will try to understand. And thereby then I'll be able to move towards liberation because I need to cut the bondage or the material attachment with the shining sword of knowledge. And that's what Krishna has said in Bhagavad Gita. Now, if you take it in that perspective, that's not a complete way of looking at it. One needs knowledge, but then there is something more that is needed. So this is like saying, like somebody wants to do medicine, for example, and it's like saying that, okay, I know all the books that are needed for the course or the syllabus that is there. So let me buy, and those books are available. So I will buy, I will read them, and then I'll become a doctor and I'll start practicing. So now this is how foolish actually it looks when somebody says, with respect to Adhyatmika, that he would just read and then he will move on. So here we need to understand that there is a need for a guru from a genuine sampradaya to help us understand and navigate ourselves out of this material world. You will need a guru, and a guru who's bona fide and then who's coming from a genuine sampradaya will be able to clear our doubts. This you can say is like the university, affiliated college and a professor. So even though the books are there, you also need a professor and then you also need a affiliated college. You can't just like that go to any professor. So there is a certain process where you get attached to that to a college, and then you are also coming in contact with the professor, and then you use your books, and then you gain the material knowledge of medicine that you are out to achieve, and then you will become a very qualified doctor. So in this way, even spiritual knowledge, there is this affiliation that is needed. And here, Yamaraja is talking about the four sampradayas. The four sampradayas, like you all know, are the sampradaya that is started, which is starting from Brahma, which is Brahma sampradaya, and then there is the other one, which is from the Kumaras, who are the sons of Brahma, which is Kumara sampradaya, and then Shambhu or Rudra sampradaya, that's the lineage that is coming from Lord Shiva. And the lineage that is coming from Lakshmi ji, the goddess of fortune, is called as Sri Sampradaya. So these are the four genuine Sampradayas. Any knowledge that is coming through this about the Lord, because all these four are connected to the Lord. They are very immediate to the Lord. And then any knowledge that comes from them through the bona fide Sampradaya is genuine, and it will actually give us a benefit. So in fact, there was this shloka that Prabhupada quotes in the purport, which says that anything that is not belonging to the Sampradaya, even though the mantra is received, it will not have the power or the effect. So it is like one example would be like, there are so many people who know the Gayatri mantra, but then there is a process of getting the Gayatri mantra from the Guru, and there is a process that happens, and after that, then there is an initiation that is happening, and then you chant or you continue to chant that particular mantra, then there is a difference. One can actually feel the difference rather than just downloading from WhatsApp, I mean from the net, and then just by hearting it and then chanting it. So it will not have any effect. Now, when we get connected like this, then there is real knowledge that begins to flow. And this is what we need to understand. And that is what Yamaraja is trying to tell. We can see this in the pages of Srimad Bhagavatam, which we are discussing. And in most of the other places also, the same thing is mentioned again and again. Now, with respect to this chapter, which is actually titled Yamaraja Instructs His Messengers, when the Yamadutas approach Yamaraja, he explains the Bhagavata Dharma. That is what we saw. And Prabhupada is saying that Bhagavata Dharma is nothing but religious principles of devotional service or bhakti yoga. And Yamaraj is saying that it is confidential. It is guhyatamam. Where else and who else has said it is confidential? Krishna has said the same thing in Bhagavad Gita, where he said the most confidential knowledge, which is the tenets of devotional service or bhakti yoga, he's calling that knowledge as Rajavidya and Rajaguhyam. So in this way, you can see that whether you read the pages of Bhagavad Gita, or you look at the various aspects from the Bhagavatam, or even in Chaitanya Charitamrita or Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also says very similar. We'll try to see those as we move forward. Now, for further understanding, we need to be aware that the essence of Sanatana Dharma or eternal religious principles is very confidential. So no one but the Lord himself can deliver it to all. So it is so confidential that it has to be delivered by the Lord or his bona fide representative. And that is how then this aspect of bona fide sampradayas makes sense, because it is the Lord who has to deliver it, or it has to be delivered through his close associate or bona fide devotees who are connected to the lineage which is there. And then we also need to understand that we can actually have some understanding of Bhagavata Dharma only by the mercy of the Lord. And the transcendental system of religion can be understood by his pure devotees, like the Mahajans in this case. So now it is the mercy component which actually changes everything in terms of understanding it. Now, how do we, let's dive a little deeper. Now, if you look at others, they might have very good knowledge. They might have sound knowledge of the Vedas, and they might be experts in reciting the mantras and so on. In fact, Yamaraja gives the examples of Jaimini and others, where he says that they might have the proper knowledge, but that particular knowledge is actually colored or tinged by material desires. So it takes a different hue And because of that, the actual knowledge doesn't get transferred, or they are not capable of transferring the knowledge the way it has to be down to their disciples. So this is like Prabhupada gives this example of milk. Milk is good, but then milk, if it gets touched by the lips of a poisonous snake, a serpent, then it is no more milk, or it loses its power because it is contaminated by the poison. So it is not fit for consumption. So that is how Prabhupada actually gives this analogy and says that one needs to ensure that it is not coming through any person or individual who is not connected to the bona fide sampradayas. So this is a very important aspect. And only then the secretive thing or the guhyatam topics can be understood. Otherwise, what will happen is it will confuse and bewilder a person. Now, let's take an example for this. There is this word adhokshaja. So, what is adhokshaja? So that represents, or it's another name for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So the Supreme Lord is described as adhokshaja, and it means that a personality who can't be understood by material senses. Adhokshaja means that individual who cannot be explained or experienced or understood by the material senses that we have. That means using of those material senses, including the mind and the intelligence, he cannot be understood. So such is the personality, and that is none other than Krishna or the Supreme Lord. Prabhupada actually says blunt material senses. So because our material senses are very blunt, so we will not be able to understand the Lord. Fair enough. This statement is something that we have heard and we can understand, we can agree to it. But if you read further, or if you look at the pages of Bhagavatam, there is also this particular thing which talks about how the Lord has to be understood by engaging the senses in the service of the Lord. Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam Bhaktir Uchyate. Now, on one side, we are saying that with our senses, we can't understand the Lord. On the other side, we are saying that if we have to understand the Lord, can happen only by engaging our senses in the service of the Lord. It might look a little contradicting, because use the senses to understand a personality who's beyond the understanding of senses will not make sense to an individual. Okay. So, or there should be something extra to make it possible. Like you can't use the same thing which to understand somebody who's beyond that. You can't do that. So there should be something more. It's like a power pack or like a booster. And then some sort of a supercharging has to happen. Only then those senses can actually be used for understanding. See, how do we understand anything? Any knowledge that we get is through our senses. This is universal, and we know that. Now, the same way, even transcendental topics, if we have to understand, then we have to use the senses. But then transcendental topic and the Lord is somebody who's beyond the understanding of the senses. So that's like a catch-22 situation. So when the senses are not engaged in material level, but always in connection with transcendental topics, like the name, the form, the qualities, or the pastimes of Krishna or Lord, then it becomes transformed. Then it moves to the higher realm. And by discussing or getting immersed in such transcendental topics, our senses become transcendental or purified. Then it is no longer material senses. Prabhupada actually gives another wonderful analogy on this. He says, like, when iron is put into fire, then it keeps getting hotter and hotter. And then you continue to keep it in fire. So there is fire and there is iron rod. So now you keep it in fire for a sufficiently long time. Then it becomes warm, warmer, hot, hotter, whatever. And then finally it becomes red hot. And at that point when it is red hot, Prabhupada says it is no longer to be considered as iron, because it has taken on the qualities of the fire. So you take that iron rod out of the fire and take it to any other object nearby, it will immediately catch fire. Like how you take fire to any object, then like a cloth or anything, it catches fire. In the same way, you take this red hot iron to the to a cloth or anything nearby, then it catches fire. So Prabhupada says it is no longer iron, it is fire, because it has taken on the qualities of fire. In the same way, when the jivatmas or we conditioned entities in material body, when we are associating with the Lord continuously with transcendental topics, and there is this whole array of transcendental topics which are given, which is starting from the name, form, qualities, pastimes, etc. All of them are on the same platform, which we know. When this association is happening for a sufficiently long time, then the material senses or the senses are no longer material in nature. They are transcendental then, like this example of the iron rod. So here in this analogy, the iron rod is the material body or the senses, and then the Lord is the fire. So this way, there is a transformation that happens, which we need to understand. And the act of connecting to the name or the form or the qualities or the pastimes is called a bhakti yoga. So in bhakti, what happens? So we are either connecting to the name or the form or the qualities of this. So this bhakti has to be, that is why it is said bhakti has to be ahaituki and apratihata. So what is ahaituki? Non-motivated, which means that you cannot have any material motivation for doing activities in bhakti. Then it becomes tinged by material desires, and then it will not have that particular effect. So it has to be a haituki, and then it has to be apratihata. Apratihata means it has to be there for a continuous time, a sufficiently long time. You put the iron rod in fire for maybe 5 minutes, 10 minutes, it might become hot, but then it is not fire. It doesn't take on the qualities of the fire. So it's in the process, but then you moved it away. So like that, it has to be uninterrupted and it has to be not motivated. So in this way, when the senses are purified, then what happens is they actually are losing the taste for material things. And this is called as vairagya, because vairagya is renunciation. Generally, they say you renounce everything and then attach yourself. But actually, when you attach to Krishna and then you are so attached sufficiently long, even though it is not ahaituki and apratihata at the initial stages, but still it is so powerful that it will give some benefit to us, and then it will help us progress towards ahaituki and apratihata's state. Then what happens is we lose taste for material things, and that is vairagya. That is why it is said Vairagya Vidya is Nijabhakti Yoga. So they say that when you progress in Krishna consciousness, you become more renounced, or material things you begin to lose taste. Some of you, I mean, maybe if a person hears it the first time, you would get a little scared. Oh my God, if I'm going to lose the taste for material things, what's going to happen to me? I may not be able to enjoy, etc., etc., which is very narrow thinking, because at that point, for that individual, he or she thinks that enjoyment means the using of senses and material enjoyment. So they are referring to that. But then once you transcend that, when you move beyond that, and then link to Krishna, to Supreme Lord, linked to transcendental topics, then also there is pleasure, then also there is ananda. That ananda is not at all comparable to the material ananda. And but then to come to that particular stage, then it takes time. So from this perspective, a practicing devotee understands these things, at least theoretically, and then he or she continues to do the sadhana bhakti, so that at one point they might reach that stage where they are like the iron rod, and then completely taking on the qualities of transcendence, and thereby then they would have lost complete taste in material things, where they might continue to do some activity. They could still be in the body, in a material body, but then they are actually performing on a higher platform, which is closer to the Lord. And that is why this kind of transformation is the highest transformation. And this transformation is possible only by Bhakti Yoga. And that is why Bhakti Yoga is called as Parodharma, or the highest. So it actually pleases the Lord. So there is this in Srimad Bhagavatam, you would have heard this verse. What's that? Savai Pumsa Parodharma, Yatho Bhakti Radhokshaje. So Radhokshaje is coming here also. Ahaituki apratihata yatma suprasidati. So where there is this suprasidati is the happiness, And that happiness is not material, but it is transcendental. And why do we say that this is transcendental? Because we have to understand that the happiness is again coming through the material senses only, or the senses, I will say. I'll not call it material senses now, through the senses. But the senses have already lost the taste for material happiness. So beyond the material happiness, there is still happiness coming, then it is transcendental. That is how you have this Atmaram Shloka and other things which talk about how a person who has given up everything, an Atmaram who takes pleasure in himself and not with any other objects of the material world, still they are attracted to transcendental topics. They find it very interesting. That is why it is given in the Bhagavatam itself that Sukadeva Goswami, who was completely renounced from a material perspective, not desiring anything, not wanting anything, and he was in that platform. But then he was somebody who never used to stay in one place for a long time. But then he sat for 7 days, unmoving, in the same place, and then spoke of the Bhagavatam. So what bound him to the place or to the seat? Is it because he was sitting with Parikshit Maharaj and so many sages were there? No, it is the topic which was binding him, and the topic was transcendental topic, which is about Krishna, about Supreme Personality of Godhead. So in this way, such nuances can be explained only by a guru or who is connected to the parampara. This is actually Krishna's mercy, this particular understanding, and it flows through the parampara only and nowhere else, especially if we have to understand bhakti, and that is what is being told here, and that is how this Bhagavata Dharma is being propounded as the highest understanding, and that can only happen through bhakti. So, the understanding is that a bona fide devotee can give bhakti. So bhakti begets bhakti, they say. You would have heard this before. So, and then our acharyas also say that even Krishna himself cannot give bhakti, as per Madhuri Kadambini. So when you have to go to Krishna, then you can't pray for bhakti because he says, I don't know what that is, I can't give you. So, in one sense, Krishna will not be able to give bhakti because he doesn't have it. How do you understand that? It's like saying you tell a king, teach me how to serve. He says, what do you mean by serve? I don't know how to serve. You go and ask my servants, they will tell you how to serve. So it's in that platform that they are in, where it is said that it's only the devotees of Krishna who can give bhakti, and that is why we go through Radharani, we try to attract the mercy of Radharani, and that is why Balaram Tattva is there, who is next to Krishna, and Balaram Tattva is the Guru Tattva. Then we are able to have proper understanding of the Supreme Lord in this way. So this connection or link is very important for us to understand. And what is actually giving bhakti? There is a very interesting thing that happens. But giving bhakti means like it's not like somebody gives that mercy, you get bhakti, and then you're there. That's it. You've arrived. No, that's not how it works. See, what happens is there is this bhakti beach that is given. You would have heard that particular this thing. What's that called? I'll try to get that. Brahmand Brahmite Kaun Bhagyavan Jeev. Just a second. Brahmanda Brahmite. This is coming in. Yeah, somebody knows that. Please go ahead.
Brahmanda Bharite Konu Bhagyavani.
Jeev. Guru Krishna
Prasade
Pai Bhakti Latha Beach. So this is coming in Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya 19:151. So in this, what is happening? What is the actually meaning of this? Where Guru and Krishna Prasade, that is the mercy of Guru and Krishna Pai, because generally a living entity is Brahmanda Brahmite. We are completely bewildered by the Brahmanda and moving around, but such jivas are all moving around. But then that jiva is considered Bhagyavan, which receives Guru Krishna Prasada or mercy. And that Guru Krishna Prasada mercy is not classified or termed as bhakti, but it is told as Bhakti Lata Beej. Like it is a beej or it is a seed that is given. Now, there is a lot of difference. Like you go to a market and you want to eat mango, so you go and ask for a mango, and if somebody gives you a mango seed, what does that mean? It means that you take that seed, you go, you plant it, and then you work on that. And then you wait for the fruit, for the fructification to happen, and then you get the fruit, and then you take the fruit. So bhakti is given in the seed form, and one has to actually take it, nourish it, plant it, create an environment for it, nourish it with water, etc., protect it so that it doesn't get eaten away. You get the point of what's the difference between a bija and then the plant or the fruit itself. So there are so many steps that are involved from the seed to the fruit. So one has to endeavor for all of that, and then the bhakti is very well established, or the fructified aspect of bhakti is it comes into an individual. But then you are only given the seed, and that itself then you are considered a Bhagyavan. And Guru Krishna Prasada is actually Bhakti Lata Beach. And so in this way, there is this stress that is put on the parampara and also on what I need to do if I receive the beach or the seed. I'll have to nurture it, I have to nourish it, I have to protect it. So that is why Vaishnava, Parad, and all of this becomes important. All of this connects very well, because if I do any of this, then it is like allowing a mad elephant into the garden where I have planted this Bhakti beach, or the creeper is just beginning to sprung out, and then you allow an elephant, or that to a mad elephant. It just will get trampled off. So you'll have to again start all over again. So this way, we can see, or the tenets of bhakti, why it is so guhyatamam we are trying to see here. And this is something that is so easily understood. Today, we are able to speak about all this, listen, and then speak and discuss is because we are taking this information from the bona fide sampradaya, which is Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya. And we have the mercy of Guru and Krishna, and not just Gurus. So each one of them have added their mercy and passed it down to the next, and then to the next, and to the next. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is there. So the whole lineage, everybody is so merciful. Mahavadanyaya he is. And then it has come to Prabhupada, and from Prabhupada, then to his disciples, and from there to us. So actually, it is fully loaded. And so it becomes very easy. And then very easy as in relatively easy. It is no longer Dukyatamam. So the moment a person comes into ISKCON, then he is given the highest knowledge. Whether a person is sufficiently qualified or not, in our enthusiasm, we would be speaking so much about the highest knowledge. We give everything in one shot. We want to take them to the initiation stage in the very first meeting itself. So much of enthusiasm devotees have. And then this particular knowledge is given. It is no longer guhyatamam within the boundaries of ISKCON. So it's available so freely. And in fact, this lineage is so important that even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu or Krishna himself, like I said earlier, Krishna cannot give bhakti. And this is, we can understand this with the pastime that was there when Krishna and then Rukmini was there and Naradji came, and then how when when Krishna was here in this material world, when the Prakata Leela was going on, at that time, this topic comes up, and then Krishna says, all right, if I cannot know what it is or what are the emotions that are involved, involving bhakti or involving a servant of, or my servant, or somebody who is serving me. So he says, I will come as my servant. And that's how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's avatara gets, it begins to take shape. And then finally, then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes, and then we know that he came 500 years back, and he is none other than Krishna. Now, why did he come? One of the reasons is to understand the emotions that are involved in bhakti, the emotions towards Krishna. And as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he came here, what did he do? He actually connected to the parampara. And then under the tutorship of Ishwar Puri, that is Madhavendra Puri and Ishwar Puri, he actually experienced the emotions of Bhakti Yoga, the bhava and the prema, and then the mood of separation, the vipralamba, which is the highest, which is all coming from Madhavendra Puri. So even though Mahaprabhu came as a devotee, then he connected to the sampradaya, to the parampara, to show us how once one is in the lineage, then all this will happen. And so this particular extra that we spoke about, which needs to be understood properly, is the mercy that is there, and that mercy is only available through the sampradaya. And that is how then Yamaraj is talking so much about the bona fide, authentic sampradaya. Because if it is not authentic, if the connection is not there, then the mercy flow is cut off. And the mercy flow is cut off, then one will not be able to understand. So you can actually picturize the whole scenario in this way, and then realize the importance of the connection, and also how one should take care that we are not cutting off that connection, and we are very careful about it, and thereby then keeping that flow of mercy intact so that we get benefited. Else, we will not be able to make any progress in bhakti. We can gain knowledge, we can gain so many things, but the bhakti progress will not happen. So, surrendering to the parampara and serving is Bhagavata Dharma. And this can only this can get us out of the cycle of birth and death, and nothing else. And this is again explained very well. The Janma, Mrityu, Chara, Vyadhi, and then the cycle of birth and death. If you have to get out of it, then this is the only way. And that is why this is called as Rajavidya and Rajaguhyam. So, Bhagavata Dharma is not understood by all. So here, Yamaraja is saying, not even people in other planetary systems, leave alone in the material world, in the Bhuloka, but even in higher planetary systems like the Chanaras, the Siddhas, the Kimpurushas, even the Devatas, the demigods, they don't understand this concept completely. They are not aware of it. And so definitely in the material world, like you have so many transcendentalists like the Jnanis, the yogis, they also don't understand this completely. The Karmis, of course, also don't understand it. Then what to speak of Grihamedis or the regular Vaishyas, Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Shudras, the Vipras, the learned people, all of them will not be able to understand this. So who can understand? Is only a surrendered soul can understand. Somebody who has surrendered to Krishna or to the Guru, who's connected to Krishna, the Parampara. So surrendering to the Guru or surrendering to Krishna is the same, because the benefit is the same. In fact, it is more merciful the Guru is than compared to Krishna. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, especially our Sampradaya, where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is also there. And that is why you have these various instructions of Tadvidi Pranipatina, Pariprashnena Sevaya, and Tadvijnanartam Sagurumeva Vigached. So you need a Guru for us to understand. So Krishna mercifully will have to give this knowledge. Only then we can understand him with our current senses. So Rishikena, Rishikesha Sevanam can happen. And then when that happens, then this is the benefit that we will see. So in this way, we can receive the mercy better. And when we are humble and surrendered, then the flow is very uninterrupted and it is direct. It is like water gushing out of a pipe without any hindrance. Straight it comes out, everything. So in that way, we can get the mercy without any loss of mercy en route, So there is one particular pastime that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu talks about. So I just wanted, there is a description that we see in Chaitanya Charitamrita. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is involved in that. So I'd just like to narrate that. So this is when Mahaprabhu was actually in Mathura. We know that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went along to many places. He was touring India. So in this instance, he actually visits Mathura. So he also visited the north, we know. So in Mathura, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, what he was doing, he was freely distributing the love of Godhead to everybody. So there was kirtan, there was chanting and dancing. This was after he got his sannyasa. So that 6 years when he was moving around. So before he settled in Puri. So at this time, he goes to Mathura. And in Mathura, he is doing this Harinam Sankirtan, Nagar Sankirtan is happening. Everybody is joyful, they are coming and then seeing, and then everybody is joining in, and then there is so much of happiness in this. So people are very happy just by seeing Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and by seeing him do the Nagar Kirtan and all of that. In this, what happens is there is one Brahmana who also comes out, and then he actually pays obeisance to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and then he begins to dance with Mahaprabhu. And that particular dance is also so endearing to everybody, and they're all happy to witness this. This is actually in Madhya 17th chapter. This particular pastime is narrated, where the Brahmana is so ecstatic, and then they are dancing, and everybody is very happy about this whole aspect. Then after that, Mahaprabhu actually calls aside this Brahmana, and then he talks to him. So now he says that, who are you, sir? Who are you? So in fact, Eka, here it says, I'll just read a couple of these verses. He says, Eka viprapade prabhura charana dhariya prabhu sange nritya kare prema vistahana. So where one Brahmana fell at the lotus feet of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and began to dance with him in ecstatic love. And the two of them danced in ecstatic love and embraced each other. Raising their arms, they said, chant the holy name of Hari and Krishna. And all the people began to chant Hari, Hari, Krishna. And there was a great uproar. And the priest in Lord Keshava's service offered Chaitanya Mahaprabhu a garland. So like this, there was wonderful pastime that was happening. And simply by seeing Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, everyone is maddened with love of Krishna. And everyone was laughing and crying. And in this way, this whole pastime was unfolding. And that is when, like I said, he calls aside this elderly Brahmana to a solitary place, and then they sit and then they say, you are a very elderly Brahmana, you are very sincere, and you are advanced in spiritual life. Where from have you gotten this transcendental opulence of ecstatic love for Krishna? Because this is a very rare commodity, and Mahaprabhu knew this, and generally you will not see that. So whatever Mahaprabhu wanted to give was already present in that Brahmana. And so Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is asking, where did you get this transcendental opulence of ecstatic love for Krishna? And then the Brahmana says, you know, actually many years before, His Holiness Sri Madhavendra Puri came to the city of Mathura while he was on a tour in those days. And while in Mathura, Madhavendra Puri actually visited my house, our house. He accepted me as his disciple and he even took lunch at our house. So this is what that Brahmana is saying. He's become an elderly Brahmana now, aged Brahmana. As soon as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu heard about Madhavendra Puri's relationship, then he immediately gets up and he pays obeisances to the feet of this Brahmana. And the Brahmana is becoming very afraid because the Brahmana knows this is Krishna. He is none other than Krishna. And then he is seeing that now Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is paying obeisances to him, so he becomes very fearful. The Brahmana also immediately falls at the lotus feet of Krishna, and this wonderful exchange is happening. And then Prabhu kahe, Tumi Guru Ami Shishya Praya, Guru Hana Shishya Namaskara Na Yuyaya. So he says, it is not befitting for me to take obeisances of Namaskaram from a person who's in the position of my Guru. So that is what is told here. So you are on the platform of my spiritual master and I am your disciple. Since you are my spiritual master, it is not befitting that you offer me obeisances. Now, why is it that he is immediately considering him as his Guru? Because he is the god brother. He becomes the god brother of Ishvara Puri, because Madhavendra Puri's disciple is Ishvara Puri and Ishvara Puri's disciple is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Now, this Brahmana is initiated by Madhavendra Puri, who which means that this Brahmana and Ishvara Puri are god brothers because they have the same Guru, which is Madhavendra Puri. So now the Guru's god brother he is meeting, who? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So he has to give the same respect that you have to give to the Guru. So immediately, because he is god brother of his Guru. So in this way, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is keeping that etiquette and then he is showing how we have to immediately position ourselves correctly, especially in the Sampradaya or in the lineage. So this way, Mahaprabhu is teaching. And then he says, but then the Brahmana is saying, why do you speak like this? You are a sannyasi and you are Krishna himself. You shouldn't be doing this. And in that, there is one closing remark that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, which I'd like to highlight and then conclude. So he says, Prabhu kahe, this is text 184. He says, Shruti Smriti Yata Rishi Gana Save Eka Mata Nahe Bhinna Bhinna Dharma. So it says that the Vedas, the Puranas, the great learned sages are not always in agreement with one another. They are all bhinna bhinna dharma. Consequently, there are different religious principles that have evolved because of this. And then he finally concludes by saying that Tarko apratishtha shrutayo vibhinna nasa vrishiyasya matham na bhinnam dharmasya tattvam nihitam guhayam mahajana ena gatasapantaha. So where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu continues to say that there are dry arguments which are inconclusive. We are seeing that happen everywhere. There are so much of dry arguments that happen because of different understanding, because of different levels at which each one is there. And Mahaprabhu is actually vouching for this. A great personality whose opinion does not differ from others is not considered a great sage. So each personality has to differ from other. Only then they are called as munis or great sages. So simply by studying the Vedas, which are variegated, one cannot come to the right path by which religious principles are understood. So just by studying the Vedas, you cannot come. Why? Because he says the solid truth of religious principles is hidden in the heart of an unadulterated, self-realized person. Consequently, as the Shastras confirm, one should accept whatever progressive path the Mahajans advocate. Mahajano ena gatastha pantaha. In fact, we've seen Srila Prabhupada quote this particular verse many times in his lectures, and our acharyas, many of them quote this. So here we have to take the progressive path of Mahajans. Why? Because the truth is hidden in the heart of an unadulterated Mahajan or a self-realized person who's a Mahajan. So when the truth is in their heart, then they will be able to give. And this is that extra that is there, which is only available in the parampara, and that is vouched by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he actually demonstrated how one should accept the parampara and how one has to submit oneself to the parampara in whatever situation. And then thereby only then we will be able to become a recipient for this particular mercy. And that is that extra that is there, which becomes Bhagavata Dharma. Otherwise, it is just Vedic knowledge. It is like the Dharma, Artha, Kama, which is talking about various rituals which are there, which one performs to get material benefits, so on and so forth. All the rest of the things are in the material platform only, even though they are all in the Vedas. That is why Krishna said, Traigunya Vishayo Veda, Nishtraigunya Bhavarjuna. So try to come out of this. And this Pravritti Marga is all about the Marga that we are in because of our inclinations, material inclinations. And the other marga, which is Nivritti Marg, which is the effort that we put into transcend, move over from Pravritti to transcendence or into the realm of Krishna. So that becomes Nivritti Marg, and that will only take us up. And in the Nivritti Marg, attachment to the Sampradaya is very important, and having a guru is very important, and following the instructions is very important. That is what even Yamaraj is telling his devotees in these wonderful shlokas that we have seen for today. So on that note, I'll stop here. It's almost 8:08. If there are any comments or questions on whatever we discussed today, please go ahead. Otherwise, we can conclude. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Thank you so much that how we explain this. Our system, our process is a top-down approach. The mercy flows in and then we progress. So thank you so much once again, Prabhuji. I request devotees, if they have any thoughts, comments, questions, please unmute them.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, wonderful lecture Prabhu. Only thing you're a little fast, but we have to be very attentive and not to miss even a single word. Thank you so much for the wonderful lecture. Prabhu, in this the book, Watering the Seed, and the Giriraj Swami, he gives the, his book, he dedicates to Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. He says, who planted the seed of pure devotion in the hearts of his followers, watered it with songs and talks and books about Krishna, and even today protects and nourishes it with his divine instructions. The fruits of this book are dedicated with love, he said.
Very good.
That's right. Thank you so much for the wonderful class again.
Thank you. All this actually reaffirms our understanding, and then it makes us doubly sure. Thereby, a little bit of the faith increases for us so that we can continue to do our devotional service. So in a way that each day is better than the previous day, kind of a thing, so that we progress then. And then we also are keeping ourselves in line with the mercy. So mercy is there actually. Mercy of the Lord, sometimes people might argue and say, mercy of the Lord is there, no, and it is, there is no cause. He is not, what do you call, pakshapati, like he is not partial. So of course mercy should be to everyone. It is like the rain or the sunshine. Yeah, that is there. But then if we don't place ourselves in the line of sunshine, we close ourselves up in a room and then complain of no sunshine, then it is our foolishness. So we will have to put ourselves outside into the line of mercy. Thereby then we will get it. Otherwise we will not get. And that is how, it is not that Krishna is denying us, but then we are putting ourselves away from the mercy, or we are getting into a room like this example, then we will not be able to receive the mercy. Whereas another person who goes out into the sunshine will get all the sunshine the same way, and he positions himself in the line of mercy, then that is positioning oneself in the parampara system, then you get all the mercy. So that's another secret that is very much part of this Bhagavata Dharma. Yes, Nandini. Thank you for bringing it up. So nice.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you very much for wonderful class, Prabhu. I have one question, Prabhu. Prabhuji, among these four sampradayas, Sri Sampradaya is actually regenerated to Ramanujacharya.
Yes.
And Madhvas, and then our Brahmagaudiya Sampradaya falls in. I think the Rudra Sampradaya is coming in the lineage of now Pushti Marg. Right? How about Kumara Sampradaya, Prabhuji? Actually, which part of
Vishnu Swami is the personality who is famous in that Sampradaya. The Kumara Sampradaya exists somewhere in the north, that is what I've heard. Now this Pushti Marg, we are not very sure, at least I am not very sure whether it is completely aligned to that Sampradaya or not, or who's what. But then we are Nimbaka Acharya and then Vishnu Swami. They are the other two personalities who are connected to Kumara Sampradaya and Rudra Sampradaya, which is authentic and genuine. There could be some offshoots which may not be authentic and genuine, so it becomes a little difficult there. But let's be aware that these four exist, and even in this four, there could be some deviations which could have come up, which may not be totally aligned. So it's very tricky there.
What I heard about Pushti Sampradaya from one of the devotees is that like how Mahaprabhu has connected Brahma Marga Sampradaya to Madhva Sampradaya, Vallabhacharya has connected the Sampradaya to Pushti Marg to the Rudra Sampradaya is what I hear from.
Possible.
Kumara Sampradaya, Prabhu, any existing lineage is still there? We do not know.
Yeah, there exist, but are they Pushti Marg or there are someone else? I'm not sure. That is what I meant. Or Pushti Marg could be a certain percentage alignment could be there. But in our case, it is not like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu actually added and made it, I mean, he added to that Sampradaya, you can say, rather than taking something there because of his position as Krishna himself. And from Madhavendra Puri, then the aspect of, I mean, our compared to in the Madhva Sampradaya, the lineage, and then our understanding, there is a difference because of Madhavendra Puri, where he spoke about the Madhurya Rasa is being highlighted there. But then that is, even though it is another sub-branch, you can say, or a branch, but then it is still authentic and bona fide because we have Mahaprabhu who's there and then who gave us this particular knowledge, and then it is being handed on to us. So in that way, the genuinity is there. But then the other things I cannot comment. I don't know because I'm not aware what has happened and what changes have happened and so on and so forth. It is just information for us. If you say something, I'll just accept it. That's all. I mean, that's how we should look at it. That's my understanding.
Yeah, thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji, once again. If there are no further questions, we'll end with Vaishnava pranams.
Yes, Prabhu.
Vansha kalpatarupesya
Vaishnavibhyo namo namaha ananta koti Vaishnavibhyo ki jai. Prabhupada ki jai.
Thank you.
Ki jai. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Hari Hari
Bol. Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
devotees. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
I'll end the session.
Hare Krishna.